Hey, thanks for stopping by my channel. In this video, I want to provide a simple as possible explanation or tutorial for TanStack Query, commonly known as React Query. Here's what we're going to do in this video. So here's an example React SPA, and it's currently not using React Query. It's actually currently not fetching any dynamic data, right? So I have these three different pages. Now imagine for this home page, I want to fetch the data, the JSON that lives at this URL. And then imagine for the about page, I want to fetch this data. And then importantly, for the random pet page, I want to fetch this data, which is different every time you refresh it. Right, so there's another one if I refresh again. Cool. Now I want to show you how beautifully simple React Query makes fetching this data. We're not going to have to use effect. And even if we have different caching needs or opinions for each of these three pages, it still couldn't get any simpler. So imagine for the random pet, because it's different every time you visit it, imagine we don't want to cache that fetch at all. Imagine we want to very aggressively cache the about page, and then maybe we want to be like medium aggressive in terms of caching the home page. All of this is as simple as possible. This is an amazing package. Let's jump into the action and let me show you how you would set this up. So the first step, as you might have guessed, is just to install the package. So npm install, it's @tanstack/react-query. Cool, so we have the package. Now our first instinct might be to go into one of our components and try to immediately start loading data. However, there's a bit of setup we need to do first. And that is because we want our data to be available globally throughout our app, meaning different pages might request the same endpoints, and so we need our caching mechanism or our memory mechanism to live higher up in the app, not in our individual home, about, and random pet components. So what we want to do is wrap our entire app in something called a query client provider. So up at the very top, let's import something. Let's import curly brackets query client provider from, and then @TanStack React Query. Now let me show you how we're going to use that. So in our app, just wrap your very top level, so an opening tag of query client provider. Whoops, I'm using Windsurf. You might be using Copilot or Cursor, but you can see it's trying to autocomplete, and it's smart enough to automatically add the client prop. You can absolutely accept that auto suggestion, but you could also just add that in manually. Obviously, for this moment, we haven't created a variable called query client, but we'll talk about what this means in just a moment. Let's go make sure we have the matching closing tag down here. So we want to close out of our query client provider. Cool. Now the opening tag does need this client prop. So what in the world is query client? Well, this could be named anything. I mean, this could literally be named pizza. We just need it to be a variable that is a new instance of a query client. So up at the top where we're importing things, you can see my AI tool. We don't need to import query. So far we just have query client provider. Let's say comma, we do need, query client. And then maybe outside of our app, so right about here, you can just say const. Yes, exactly. Because I named this variable pizza, just pizza equals a new instance of query client. At this point, our wrapper now has everything it needs. And now anywhere inside of it, it's super easy for us to leverage React Query. So we can save this file, and now we can start going into our individual pages or components. So let's go into our home page. And now remember, for the home page, I want to fetch the data that lives at this URL. So up at the very top of this file, we're just going to import use query from, you guessed it, @TanStack React Query. So even though this component has no idea about our overall caching store, because we're using this, it's as simple as just like using, like use state or use effect. You can just say const. And you know what? Instead of typing it out, I actually recommend just going to the official React Query documentation, and on the home page or the overview page, I should say, their example code is perfect. So if you scroll down a little bit here inside of their component, here you see this block of code. I would actually just copy all of this. So is pending error data. You're going to get the loading ... If there's an error, we can show that. And then this little block of JSX. Just copy all of that into your clipboard. If you don't want to do that, I will include a link to my finished product code. But check this out. Inside our home component, inside the body of our function, I'm just going to paste in my clipboard. And let me walk through this code with you. So we're destructuring these variables, and the key here is that we're leveraging or using use query. Query key is very important. This is the unique identifier for this piece of data or for this request. or I should say this query. Why don't we call this one like homepage data? You and I will not have to type this in anywhere else. This is just for React queries, sort of internal management. Okay, and then query function, this is just a fetch. And then obviously whatever URL or endpoint. So for me, it's just localhost 3000, but whatever you're trying to fetch, just include that here. So while this is fetching, we'll see loading ... If there's an error, you get the idea. But once it's successful, once we have it, let's just say like, homepage content. And then inside the paragraph, it would just be data . And then in my JSON, I have something called content. So let's save that. And if I go back and refresh my homepage, beautiful, you see loading ... And here is the dynamic JSON value. Let me set up the basic query for the about page and the random pet, and then I want to spend just a minute with you really understanding how caching works in React Query. So we'll implement different caching strategies for each of our 3 pages so that it's optimal for the needs of that content. But let's make the about page come to life. So I would actually just take my home component, go into about, just completely wipe it out, change the name of the component to about. Definitely be sure to change the query key. Let's call it like about page data. And then what we're fetching is just /about. Let's change this to say about page content and then data.content so we can save that. Now when you visit the about page, beautiful. Let's set up random pet. So I would go into that component, paste it in, change the name to pet. Definitely change the query key to random pet. Let's change this to /random. Down in the heading level 1, let's display, so curly brackets, data.pet for their name. And then let's also display their weight. So data.weight and then pounds. Let me save that. Let me refresh. Loading ... There's the name, there's the weight. Beautiful. At this point, though, let's spend a minute to really understand how caching works in React Query. Now, to make this really obvious, I've actually made my endpoints take a whopping 3 seconds to actually give you the data. Like if I hit refresh, it's going to take 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. This will make it crystal clear and really easy to understand the way that React Query by default uses cached data but fetches a fresh copy in the background. So here's how we're going to make sure that we perfectly understand how this is working. In my endpoints for home and about, I have something called our number that's going to be a random value each time you load it. So you see 3 seconds later, it finally spits back a different number. So let's just make sure we're including that in home and about. So let's have a paragraph that says data.our number. And then let me just be sure to include that in the about component as well. Cool. So now if I go back to my application and then open up your dev tools, and 2 things, go into the network tab, and then in addition to the network tab, I want to enable this cool feature. So from these 3 dots, more tools, I'm looking for the one called rendering, and then make sure you enable paint flashing. This will highlight in a green rectangle the parts of the DOM that are actually getting repainted. With our dev tool set up, now let's spend maybe the next 70 seconds just really understanding how React Query works by default, and then we can learn how to fine-tune or customize those defaults for each individual page. So if I, just refresh my home page, and then let me clear out the network tab and make sure under the requests, show all of the requests. Now when I click on About to visit that page, notice there's just that one request. It takes the 3 seconds to load, and then it displays. But now let's remember this number, the random number, so 449811, or just that it ends in 811. Now if I go to the home page and then click back onto the About page, notice it's showing the old number, and then 3 seconds later, it has a brand new number. But we never saw loading ... again. So by default, React Query, you can see now when I click between these, it's instant, and that's because it's showing you the cached or the data from the previous request, and then in the background, it's fetching a new copy. So like, notice this one ends in 168. When I click back to it, we don't see loading ... We're seeing the old data, and then in the background, it's performing that request, and then only updating, that's due to the nature of React, not React Query, but then only the part that's different gets re-rendered. The key here is that even though your data is cached, React Query is still, and that's why I wanted you to have your network tab open, it's still going to send requests every single time I click back and forth between these two pages. You can see each time there's a request to about. When I click home, there's a request to home. When I click about, you get the idea. So that's the default behavior for React Query, and I think it's a very intelligent default option. You're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting instant cached-based display, and then you're still getting to know that you always have the fresh data coming in, just a little bit later. So that's a brilliant default, but what if you want to customize that default? For example, on our About page, what if we don't want to have subsequent network requests for About? Like, what if you know that your About page only changes once a year? So as long as that's in the cache at all, just display it from the cache. Don't bother with another network request. It couldn't get any simpler. Check this out. We just go into our About component. And then inside of use query, we have query key, query function. Just add another property called stale time. It's measured in milliseconds, not seconds, but let's just say half an hour. So 1,000, times 60 times 30, comma. And now if I save and refresh, let's take a look at our network tab. Let me actually go to the home page and refresh, clear out the network tab. So the first time I visit the About page, obviously we see that network request. But then if I go back and click on About again, beautiful, we don't bother with a fresh request. But our homepage still is having those background to always pull in the newest data. Beautiful. Now let's focus on our random pet page, because with random pet, because it's different literally every time you hit up that endpoint, if I navigate away, I don't want to see the old data at all. Anytime I click back onto random pet, I want to just immediately see loading ... That old cache data is completely worthless here. So all we do, if we go into our pet component, in addition to query key and query function, this time, not stale time, but something called GC time, which stands for garbage collection time, and just put it to 0 so that it's immediately cleared from the cache. It's immediately thrown in the garbage. We don't ever try to use it again. So if I save this and let me refresh my home page, okay, and when I click on random pet, we see loading ... but that's not the moment of truth. Now if I click off of it and then click back onto it, beautiful. I don't see that old pet. I immediately see loading ... And every single time you're just going to get that exact behavior. This is exactly what we want. Now, to clear up any confusion, the difference between GC time or garbage collection time and stale time is that stale time controls how long before it's considered stale so that it will fetch a fresh copy in the background. GC time controls how long it will be stored in the cache. Now, we've only scratched 1% of what React Query is capable of, but I've found in my simple projects that just GC time and stale time, just this alone is already so powerful and so easy compared to using useEffect. This is just amazing. I'm a huge fan of this. I'm going to be using this in all of my spa projects moving forward. That is going to bring this video to a close. If you enjoyed this video and if you're a fan of using React more as a library instead of as a server-side framework, you might be interested in my full React course. In the description, you'll find a link to join my full course. In the course, we build the front-end spa for a social network where you can log in, create posts, follow other users to build your homepage feed. There's a live search and a live chat feature. It's a lot of fun, and it's really just focusing on using React as a library. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video until the very end. I hope you feel like you learned something, and stay tuned for more tutorials.